My name's Ty. I work at Taps on Main, and this is the Poor People Podcast. Today, I will be making our household fashions. I will also be making our NA household fashion as well. And we hand make our own old-fashioned simple syrup. At least 90% of our syrups we try to make in-house. You can take a pretty baseline cocktail and just really amp it up with your own syrups and own juices. So we make our own sour mix, our own Bloody Mary mix, and then a lot of our own syrups as well. This is our old-fashioned simple syrup. And also we're gonna have Buffalo Trace in there as well. Some bitters and a little bit of vermouth in there, just to kind of mellow and make the body of the cocktail based out. And then in the NA old-fashioned, it's just gonna be our house-made simple syrup and the Ritual NA whiskey. We do have Buffalo Trace on tap. We do sell a lot of Buffalo Trace. When we originally started Taps on Main, we were really flirting around with what we wanted to do as far as concept-wise. We have a pour your own draft beer wall that we inherited, and that has about 40 beers on draft. So we knew we wanted to do more of a beer concept. We're trying to decide what we want to do for like secondary options, tertiary options. Brown spirits are really hot, and if we lean into brown spirits, we can make some really fun stuff. We plan on doing a little bit more of like a high-end cocktail program, more of kind of a speakeasy. Ended up kind of leaning more into the sports bar realm. We just wanted to bring more of a whiskey flair to the Crossroads area, but then also still have a sports bar where you can get a classic cocktail that kind of comes out in 2 or 3 minutes. Most people use Luxardo cherries. I really have a fancy for the Japanese Amarena Black Cherry. The Amarena Black Cherry reminds me of cherries when I was growing up in Michigan and would go pick cherries with my grandpa up in like northern Michigan. The Michigan cherry has a nice little pit and has a really nice robust flavor to it. Hard to find Michigan cherries, easier to find Japanese Black Amarena cherries. All right. Cool. Got some cocktails.
All right. Welcome to Poor People.
We're the Poor People. My name is Haley.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Jaydn, and we're here with our guest today.
I'm Ty from Taps on Main.
Nice. We nailed it. See, we're getting it. We've been working on that intro for so long now. 3 episodes now we've been trying it, and we finally got it. But yeah, all right. So we're at Taps on Main. I actually have been here before, but I didn't realize it until I walked in here. So I have a story about that. But let's yeah. It's a pretty good one. It's funny.
Like a juicy Patreon story, or just
no, I don't think we're gonna say it for Patreon.
Okay.
But if you are on our Patreon, it's only $5 a month, and you get an exclusive extra episode every week, and you get this episode 1 week early as well. So definitely sign up for our Patreon and follow us on YouTube. All right. Anyways, we're here with Ty. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us how long you've been working here. Where your restaurant history, stuff like that.
Yeah, my name's Ty. I've been working at Taps on Main since we opened. My boss, he's one of my closest friends. He called me. We worked together. We bartended together for a while. Then he was my boss, and we always used to drink around a fire pit at our old job, talking about at some point in time we're going to open a restaurant. At some point in time we're going to do this, and the joke of us going back and forth was, I'm not going to do this unless you're my number 2. And then I was working as a distributor for a while, and then he met up with me one week. He's like, hey man, I got the collateral together. I don't want to do this unless you're in. And I was like, all right. So I went to my then girlfriend, now wife, and was just like, yo, you got to give me 5 years. Like I told him, and that was, it would be 7 years in November. So it's been a nice little journey. Basically been through the ringer for everything I've done. Front of house, back of house, you name it, I've done it. Draft tech stuff, and then obviously we decided to add opening a bar to our resume and all that stuff. And bar programs and
Pretty cool. So wait, are you part owner then of this place?
I guess technically my term is like managing partner.
Okay. Cool.
But for the most part, I was sweat equity. All the brothers, he has two brothers, and their families are like the main owners and all that stuff. I'm considered on that level. Obviously, I do a lot of the day-to-day decisions and all that stuff. And technically, I only have one boss, and his name is Grant, which is like him and his wife are the main owners. But those are the people that I that I kind of answer to. And then I have my own team underneath where I have like my bar manager, Aaron, and then I have a couple of like expo managers and shift managers and bartenders that all run shifts as well. So kind of a nice little tight knit family. We've been doing really, really good as far as like turnover goes. We actually haven't really turned over our front of house staff for about 2-3 years. And so it's just like and a mark of honor for myself and like a badge for myself would be everybody here as far as service was handpicked.
Okay.
And they were all like friends or people that I was like, you're really good at your job. You're coming along with me.
Cool.
And I know you guys interviewed Zusi.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
Yeah.
So the bartender that's out there right now.
That was Miracle on Ingersoll, right? Or the station?
Yeah.
Or what's the one behind it? Something Hideaway?
The station,
It's
right?
it's the station, but it's Miracle on Ingersoll, but they called it something else.
Yeah, the actual name for it is something else. I don't remember. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, but no, so she worked at Johnny's 95th, which is a place in this area. And then.
Oh, right. She's from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
forgot
so
about that. Yeah.
One of her coworkers is actually the bartender that's out there right now, Haley. And so that was kind of how it's like we all knew each other. And I was actually their liquor rep for a while. So that was when I was kind of doing the whole other side of the
Wow,
equation.
look at that.
Small world. So did you know that we were coming down here through Zuzi then or anything? Or did you like, is that how we got this connected?
Yeah, Zuzi
okay.
and Greg mentioned us because he was good friends with Susie, and then Susie mentioned it to you guys and all that stuff.
Okay,
And
cool.
they were like, "Are you guys down?" And I was like, "Hey, we have a podcast in here in the back.
Hell
like,
yeah.
let's go."
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, dude.
Perfect. Cool. So can you give us a rundown of like taps in general? It's really unique here.
so we were looking at places and we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do. We were writing a business plan. We didn't know where we were going to fit in. We knew kind of what we wanted to do, and then a place called Ruins Pub opened up. And it had a pour your own draft beer system, which was really niche and really unique. And we drank here a lot, or he drank here a lot, and ate and all that stuff. And I came here every now and then with my roommate at the time, and would have a couple drinks. But for the most part, came here and he was just like, "Man, I really love that system." And then when we found out kind of under the table that they were for sale or they were looking to turn over, that was when we just kind of got the ball rolling on things. And I remember it was like late October and he was like, "We got it." And I was like, so stoked. Cause I was like, oh wow. Like I didn't think our first experiment of opening a bar, I thought it would be more suburb based, but it's like, no, you're going to be in the heart of downtown.
Yeah.
You're going to be in Crossroads. You're going to have a beer concept, which instead of having to install your own wall, you're going to take over a wall, which had its complications. But then from there, we were like, we wanted to do other specific things. And so we did fresh food concept. And then we did the whiskey program as well. And that's when we did all of our massive whiskey walls. And that's when we have like the draft cocktails where it's like Buffalo Trace on draft.
Cool.
And all that fun
Because
stuff.
this is like the Buffalo room, right? So it's all, I kind of heard you talking about it earlier, but everything in here is like Buffalo Trace or something?
Yeah, Buffalo Trace, kind of Sazerac stuff, but just like whiskey in general. It's modeled after a speakeasy, but we wanted to have a little bit more of a whiskey flair. So like the lights are actually Blanton's bottles that have been like cut, and then we ran a lamp kit through them.
Cool.
We wanted to do a tin ceiling, but then when I was actually remodeling, there was a lot of wood rot up there that I had to like fix and rip out. So then basically, and the tin ceiling was rusted, so we ended up having to drop a more decorative ceiling, but also something that was like, technically you can't see, but it is plastic. But
yeah,
it also
looks awesome.
Yeah.
Still.
That's beautiful.
And then the whole wall behind me is all ex-bourbon barrels, and you can actually see letters on some of them.
Oh,
we had
no
like
way.
We had like a Knob Creek barrel.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so if you look up there, you'll every now and then you'll see a K, you'll see an N, and you'll see an O, and they're all worked through that bourbon barrel theme. And it's also dual meaning because the owners are from Buffalo. So it's also whenever the Chiefs and Bills play at the same time during football season, we are a Buffalo bar as well. We're a Bills
Gotcha.
backers bar.
Yeah.
This is where you can hear the sound for the games as well.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's so cool.
That wall is super cool. I was looking at it earlier and I didn't even think anything of it. But yeah, once you say that, you can tell they're all like burnt whiskey barrel bottles or barrels, whatever they're called.
Barrel stage.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. And then you were saying too that you like renovated a lot of this too? Like,
Yeah, this was my COVID project.
Okay. And you like had a team with you or you like did this all yourself?
There were some people that helped throughout the different processes with like painting and all that stuff. But for the most part, I had a really, honed in vision of what I wanted this room to be. And I'm glad it came to what it was. But there was some design processes, and different people were like, "Oh, we're gonna do this." I'm like, "No. We're gonna have this color. It needs to be this kind of cream color, and like we're gonna do barrels, and we're gonna do the barrel wall. The barrel wall, I got the idea from. I did a friend's bar, just like the front facing bar with the barrel staves, and I was like, God, that would be really cool as an accent wall.
Yeah.
And it just, the vision came to fruition. And then, I've had some people help throughout times. And obviously I had an electrician come out and fire the lights because I don't touch electrical. I just feel like I was like, hey, put this idea out. And they did a great job. And it's actually an architect firm that I can't remember the name of there, but they're right around the corner from us.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, nice work.
Yeah, seriously.
Hard work paid off for sure.
Definitely.
So how often do you use this room?
It really depends. During football season, it gets used a lot because we need more space for the Chiefs games. But then also like we have like the Bills game show back here, and we do a lot of private dining facilities. So it really just depends on the time of year. Like right now, this next week into the middle of June, we have a lot of graduation parties. And then you have this kind of weird break throughout summer, and you'll have a lot of like corporate events. And then toward the winter, you'll have a lot of weddings, you'll have a lot of rehearsal dinners. And then New Year's and Christmas, you have like Christmas parties, New Year's parties. So it's really just kind of off and on throughout the entire year.
Yeah.
And whenever we have really busy days, like we hosted the NFL draft in KC a couple years ago, like this was all overflow. And I mean, the whole place was rocking one in, one out from Thursday to Sunday.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Because, I mean, it is basically a speakeasy. I mean, you just have to walk all the way to the back. You know, there's only the one entrance and then the exit door. And like
the original idea, and it got vetoed, but also it was rightly got vetoed because we were doing podcasting back here. And Grant's like, why would we do a podcasting room if you can't sit in it and ask questions? But I did want to do the whole bookshelf. You pull the book, it releases the mechanism, and you open the door. But it was like, all right, that might be a little much.
Right, yeah. I mean, you can, like, do you have to have a, like, hidden door in order for it to actually be, like, a speakeasy?
I don't think so. I mean it's just, it kind of comes with the territory.
I feel like you could, because I've been to some other speakeasies in, like, Nebraska before, and it was just, like, it was just a door with a padlock, like a big metal door, you know, and it was like still really cool. And you walked in and it was like arched ceilings and stuff like that. And it was like not expecting, but it was still like, I mean, I was like, I don't need like a, remove a book slowly just for the door to pop open. Or like there was another one too where it was like a vending machine or something like that, and you put a quarter in and you hit like a certain button and then the door like popped open.
That's cool.
Yeah. And or it was something like that. It was like a game. I don't remember, but I remember you had to put a quarter in order to get the door to come open. But yeah, those are cool too.
One of my favorite bars in this area is Swordfish Tom's, and they're kind of the same thing. Just an alleyway, a door, and go in there, get the green light, go in, and it's an old boiler room, and it's just really, really nicely done.
Cool.
So how did you get Buffalo Trace on tap? And all the other lovely liquors that you have on tap. Like that was like so interesting to see that. It was, here's a Buffalo Trace head and then you just pull it. It's not like a norm because normally when you think of a tap, you think of beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how did you guys come up with that concept?
And there's Patron on tap too.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, what?
Yeah. Buffalo Trace, Patron, Bacardi, and Wheatley vodka. But yeah, so honestly, obviously the theme was taps on Maine. So it was like, what can we put on tap? And when I was working in Kansas as a distributor, I had a lot of Mexican restaurants that obviously have margaritas on tap. And I was like, they can do it with margaritas. We can do it with whiskey.
Right.
And then of course from there, it was just kind of having the relationships that I had with like certain distilleries or distribution brands like Sazerac and all that stuff. And it was like, well, what do we want to put on? And obviously playing the whiskey game that we were playing, it was like, we got to put on Buffalo Trace and we got to have it on draft. And it's going to be our household fashion. It's going to be this. And then from there, it's just having the sales back it up. So that's why we created the house syrup for it and try to get all the flavors together and make sure that we experimented with what we needed to and, express the actual like sweetness of the whiskey. Because I myself like more of like a rye, like a spicy, like old fashioned. But this was definitely more universal for just drinkers in general. And then, from there, it was just like, we want to do this. Is it feasible? And then contacting the people that we knew, and they were like, yeah, we can do it. And I was like, F yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So you told your wife to give you 5 years. How, with that, since you are a family man, how did that work out with everything, with your trials and tribulations with building this and whatnot? Like everything went well? Was it stressful? Like being a dad and being a bartender, like how was your schedule and things like that? How did you mediate time for your family and then for bartending and creating a new bar?
Man, it was really, really stressful. And Grant did the same, or my boss did the similar thing that I did as well. And we know that a lot of places we worked were very much so like, you commit to us or you don't commit at all. And we wanted something fresh and something different. And also, especially if you want to make that statement, like, I want to be a primary parent. I'm not a weekend and holiday dad, or I'm not a weekend and holiday mom. I'm not a single parent. Like, we wanted to make sure that we were there for our wives and for the people that were there for us throughout the entire process. So it was kind of making sure that you cement a lot of the stuff around how we worked around it. It was easier with just one kid, I will say. When we had our second, we have two boys. We have Archie and Milo, and my boss has Maisie and Cora. And so when we had Archie at first, I was bartending and I'd be closing the bar, and then I would take the night shift with Archie. So Dawn would go to bed roughly, she'd put him down for bed and try to put him down early. And then whenever he would wake up, he woke up every like 2 hours, 1.5 hours. And so then when I would get home at like 11:30 midnight, I basically would stay up until like 4 or 5, and then I'd put him down to sleep, and then she would wake up with the next one. So that part was really easy. But then when you have two kids and you switch from man coverage to, or when you switch from, just one person watching the kid, you switch to man coverage straight up, you have one-on-one, it gets a little difficult. And then from there, it was just kind of, we always made sure to have each other's backs, to where if somebody needed to cover something, it was always family related. That's where like handpicking your staff has a real good advantage, because then I can pick up the phone and call my bar manager. I can pick up the phone, call my expo, or any of my bartenders or servers, and have them all fill that void. But then from there, it's just being able to interchange and get the time off that you need. And it was really difficult. We went through some tough times. My wife and I were actually even talking about it last night, where it was just like, it's so weird to be where we're at now, because like we feel like things are falling into place. And it was like, man, we had a tough go for a second. And of course, like, we were like, this was fine. We made it through. We learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about our kids. And at the end of the day, more so than our marriage, more so than the bar, the kids took center stage. And that's the way Grant and I operated as well. So where it's like, he's daddy daycare. They choose not to do daycare or things like that until later on. And to be a primary parent is super difficult. And it's very admirable that working for a boss that A, understands it, and then B, gets it and does it himself. And then to be able to have that aspect of like right now, where it's like, I'm opening today, Grant's gonna be closing today. And
so you're working right now?
Yeah, technically.
Okay.
They kind of get the whole rhythm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I'm working today, he's working tonight, and we just kind of have that change of, if we need to change it, we can do it. And being able to rely on each other, and like I said, have a staff that has your back no matter what. So.
I like that. I have the same feeling towards my staff as well. And just being able to, like, you've known your boss for 11 years, is that correct?
Yeah, since 2009.
Yeah, and you guys work with each other very well too. So like, when you guys are working really well with each other, and you have, like, you guys basically don't have any disagreements, you guys just get along very well. Oh, okay.
We have disagreements, because everybody has disagreements,
Yeah.
especially like no matter what partner you have in life, be it your marriage partner, your business partner, or anything like that, you have disagreements. But it's the ability to communicate through those differences that really sets aside what you can accomplish. And it's thinking of it as a team instead of yourself. And Grant and I are the two people that can hash it out. Whenever we were going back and forth about things, and we've had disagreements about different parts in the business and what we wanted to do, but for the most part, we stay water. We constantly move everything around and lean into the curve. When we opened, we were a pour your own beer bar. We were sports friendly, and then within a year we changed it to modern sports bar, because that's what we became known for. And so then from there, it was like just kind of editing and moving everything around and just staying within the parameters of business. But when we have arguments, we just kind of break it down to like what we're disagreeing about. We take time to separate and think about it from the other person's perspective, but then also be like, what is the best alternative for taps and stuff like that in general.
When starting a new business, how many flaws did you have to change? Like, you started it and you thought this was going to be a really good idea, because you said about like the whole ice thing and having craft cocktails and things like that. Now, how many changes did you have to make?
A million. We're still making them.
Yeah.
It's just, especially in the serving industry in general, there's always new fads. There's always new things coming around. And so it's leaning into what's coming new and then making sure that you can kind of always manipulate your bar program or restaurant program around that, and then getting the staff like elevated to the same level of like, we're passionate about this, and just honestly just putting everything you got into work.
Did you ever feel like when you were starting it, like so how long has it been here now?
It will be 7 years for the remodel in November.
7 years. Wow. Okay. So like in the first like few years, did you ever get to a point where like you said you're always changing everything, but did you ever get to a point where you felt comfortable and you were like, oh, we did it, like this is it, and then you realize that like there's more you have to do, like, and how long was that like state of being like, oh, we got it, we nailed it, and then you're like, oh shit, hold on, wait?
Literally a month.
Yeah.
So after the first month, we were like, oh wow, this is great, and then we made it to 2019 when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl for the first time. Or 2020, the year 2020, and we finally got rolling, and Grant and I were like, this is it, we made it. We have a Super Bowl parade, we have all the stuff. The Super Bowl parade went a block and a half away from us, and we were like, we made it. And then boom, our entire world came crashing down around us with COVID. And so then we had to learn and navigate COVID from there. But like that, we literally had about a month there where I was like, man, we got a really cool thing here, and this is gonna be awesome. And so like we were like, we made it, we got it, and then all of a sudden within a month we have those hard conversations where you're like, is the dream dying?
Yeah.
Like, am I not going to be able to make it anymore?
Right.
And yeah, we made it through, and then we completely changed how we did things. We closed down for maybe about 3 weeks, and then we reopened. We were able to keep a lot of the staff that we wanted on board with navigating COVID. And a lot of that took like Grant and I not taking salaries and just making sure the restaurant was running. And luckily I had a great partner at that point in time, my wife, Dawn, shout out to her. Cause obviously she was like, yeah, we're just living off my salary.
Right.
And it says a lot to like, let your partner follow their dreams. And then from there, we just, when 21 started rolling around and everything started changing, we just kept driving, kept working. And then finally got back to like where we're at. We're like, wow, this is still a moving part. This is still great. So.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking that is because I just feel like some people, and it doesn't even have to be in a restaurant, it can be any business really, but like some people just get to that point where they're like, oh, we did it. And then it's like they end up failing, because it's like they don't think to grow anymore or change anything else, So, but yeah, it's just really interesting. It's cool that like you've been such a big part of like this process of this place itself. And then like the whole like pour yourself your own beer, like that's the machine back there looks insane. And I know you got like a picture of it, but I know, like, I mean, I don't even know if she knows how to change a keg. So like if there's like a whole wall of like, sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus.
Guys, I work at a Shots bar. Leave me alone.
I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but like I'm just saying like there are plenty of servers and bartenders who don't change kegs and stuff. So it's like coming up to that, I think would be nice to be like, oh, you just get it yourself. But then if anything goes wrong or something, is there like somebody working back there constantly checking all the lines and stuff, or is it like
that's me and Aaron?
Yeah,
me, Aaron, and Daniel, who works here occasionally as well. That is, and I mean Grant obviously whenever he's here as well. But yeah, that's our it's bartenders based basically, and for the most part, it's using the draft tech skills that I had, and basically just every day you walk in, see how many lines are out. If you have backups, you can change it. If not, you have to learn how to clean lines. You have to do it the right way. You have to make sure, obviously for safety purposes.
Yeah.
But
I don't even know what draft tech is, to be honest. Is that just like the person who puts all the draft lines in and stuff? Okay.
So yeah, being able to put in draft lines, obviously clean draft lines.
Gotcha.
And then if there's like something like a problem, you can troubleshoot it. If it's changing a coupler, if it's replacing a fob, if it's replacing like a just basically anything in general, like grommets and just gaskets and stuff like that.
So then how do lines work? Like how do they like
so
tell me everything, dude. Detailed explanations of how they work. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say this
is
system,
basic layman.
So basically you have your keg and then you have your coupler on top and on your coupler.
That's the part that you have to change.
Yeah.
So pay attention, right?
Also known as a Sankey. But you have your coupler, and on that it splits two lines. It has a gas line and has a beer line.
Yep.
And then it connects, and then basically it runs all the way through the beer line, through the front, through the faucet.
Is it through the ground?
That's where this restaurant comes into place. absolutely love our beer system. The only issue with the install of it was it was not installed by somebody that was kind of a beer person. So they ran the lines up and over the kitchen. Wouldn't have done that over the hottest part of the restaurant because then you have to glycol chill everything now, which adds another system to make sure that the beer runs great. So I would have done more of a direct feed system, which would have been easier to work with. But from there, it's basically you have the lines go up and over the kitchen, and then they kind of go down and they split along that entire 40s. But then the 40 pour your own beer wall. But then there is a spot where it comes up and goes down underneath the bar, which is the original line work, and that's for the back bar where it's like your domestics are, the 12 that are on one side of the restaurant, which is like Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Coors, and all that.
So they do typically go through the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there what happens if something breaks on it? Like you have to actually tear up the floor and all that, and like. I'm just saying for like a general system like that, not this one obviously, but.
Yeah, I mean with stuff like that, they have long lines that they basically run through. But yeah, you'll get a leak somewhere. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to like run lines all the way through the floor and rewrap the entire trunk system and insulate it. And it gets pretty tedious and really, really, really messy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just never actually known how it works, so I just wouldn't it was cool. Well, because there's always people that come in too, and they're cleaning it and whatnot, and so I'm just like, where does it all come from? Like where's this beer well of alcohol? Need to find it, start digging. But no, I was just interested in that. Sorry.
You were saying that some people like to come in here like, how does this work? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
How does it work?
Yeah.
So basically people come in, if they're wanting to do the beer wall, we take a debit or a credit card. We give them our beer card, which is through Pour My Beer. And it has an RFID card, and basically they can go up and they put it on the actual beer wall system, and then it opens the line and they can open and pour as much as little as they want. Everything gets measured within 1/10 of an ounce because there's a flow meter that spins, and so every revolution is like 10 or whatever. But so even if they just open and close it, it'll just register 0.01 or 0.1, and so then they get as much as they've dispensed on that one. But every time someone comes in, the most common answered question every single day is someone will come in, so how does this place work? It's like, well, we take a card, we give you a card, then you go pour it, and then we settle it up at the end. We just link it to the card, and then we can basically just, whenever you're ready to close out, you can be like, I'm ready, just give us the beer card, and we can just handle it from there.
Pretty cool. I was kind of talking about this earlier, but I've definitely been in here before, and I was definitely one of those guys that's like, how does this place work? But I was in here with two other buddies. One of my buddies that lives here in Kansas City, and we were here to see a concert. Dylan Francis and Young Gravy played at another. I have videos and stuff we can put in from it. Anyways, we stopped here for lunch that day. And we were like kind of already drinking a little bit. So like we came in here for some food, and I just remember we were sitting in that like front corner right by that window and like on the side of the bar kind of. And you might have been here that day actually.
High probability.
I feel like I recognize you when I was like, searching for those memories. But so I remember our server was really nice and very, very sweet about everything and stuff. And we were like doing the touch tunes, and one of our buddies like had touch tunes still on his phone. So for whatever reason, he starts playing WAP like on the thing, on the touch tunes or whatever, and it was like really loud, and there was like families in here. It was busy and stuff, and then we noticed that it got like turned off immediately, like so quick, and we were just like, okay. So then we played it again.
You're an asshole.
We didn't know what was going on. We just thought it just stopped for whatever reason, and then
you looked around, and you knew that there were families, and then
no. I wasn't the one doing this. I don't pay for touch tunes because I have Spotify, so it was not me. But they played it again and noticed it got cut off again, and then we were just kind of like laughing about it, whatever, and we stopped after that. But then I remember our server came up to us and just was like, were you guys the ones playing WAP in here? And we were like, yeah, it didn't like work for whatever reason. And she's like, no, we were canceling it because you can't play that before 10 p.m. or something like that. And we were like, oh. So yeah, we didn't get like yelled at or anything. She thought it was funny and she was very nice about it, but we just genuinely didn't know that like, we just, I don't know.
Good on your staff
It was an option.
Yeah,
for real. But is that apparent? Was that like a thing for a while that like people were doing that?
Grant hates that song. But also, obviously, he's like, no, we want to be family friendly for a certain pound. So like before that time at Touchtunes, you couldn't have turned off the jukebox where you did family friendly in the morning and then you did like bar at night.
Yeah.
And so
because this was like 2-3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. And so you had to ban songs, but they kept on coming out with a new version and just like changing it. And so like it was this never ending battle where Grant was like, I banned that song. And we were like, oh, let's play now. Like, and he was like one of those, like he was damn near militant about it. We're like, we're not playing WAP before 9:30.
I do remember the bartender looking kind of angry.
Yeah.
Like, he was, so that was us.
Yeah.
Yikes. I saw you guys have like a charging station type thing too, which I wanted to bring that up because people come to me all the time asking to charge their phone, in which I'm glad to do. But when it's super busy, I'm like, yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
So that's super nice that you have that. How does that work? Do they pay for it?
They do pay for it. But same thing. We got tired as a staff of losing our charge cords, especially because we bought those those cords. We spent our money on them and all that stuff. And then of course, like you lend it out to something and the next thing you know, it grows legs and you're like, I just lost that cord. So got tired of that. And then basically this guy came up to us. His name was Robert. And he's like, hey, I have this like charging machine. And I was like, oh, I'm totally down. And then it cost $1, but obviously not that much. But literally when someone's like, hey, I need to charge my phone, you're just like,
yeah,
right there, dude. And it happens obviously every time on the weekends. But
so wait, I didn't notice this. What is it? It's like on the bar or something?
Touchtunes, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just a box that
it's a box that has a bunch of battery like solo chargers. And so basically you just like scan the code and put in your credit card information. They don't sell it to anything. They just use it for like if you're using the other thing, I think it's called Charger Go. But they have it sends you information on where the other chargers are at. So you literally just take that portable charger, plug your phone into it, and you don't have to drop it off here. You can drop it off at any other charging locations.
Okay.
So like I know, for example, it's at the Quaff right now. So it's like you could come here and then end at the Quaff and then stop charging your phone, turn in at the Quaff.
Interesting.
And not have to worry about it.
Is there a lot of bars around here doing that then?
Just kind of starting out.
Okay.
I know us, the Quaff, the bar, which is in the bar off Johnson Drive, and then I can't remember some of the other ones. I'm trying to get Streetcar on it as well, just because it makes it 10 times easier for the staff, because then obviously regulars usually get to use our chargers, but then from there it's just like, nope, use that one.
We're just at Streetcar.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
I also noticed it's a thing in Kansas City. In the bathrooms, there's a sign about the angel shot, which I've heard about that online, but I don't think that's a universal thing for us anyways in Iowa. But how often do people ask for the angel shot?
Good thing, not often.
Good.
But it's having the right, like I said, staff and everyone in place. We have walked people out the back before, made sure they're at their cars. We are debating actually changing the terminology around on it, because we don't want people to
Catch on
get
to it.
into
To know
it.
exactly what
Yeah,
it
so
means. Yeah.
it'll eventually change what it's supposed to be, but the theory behind it is angel shot. I have two sisters, and they're both older than me. And Aaron, the bar manager, he has two sisters as well. Like especially like we're all in agreement on this thing. That it's like everyone just needs to feel safe, and especially being a bar downtown, we are right next door to a strip club.
You are? Where?
Yeah.
I didn't see
Calm
that.
down.
I've never been to a strip club.
Why didn't we go there? Hold on. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
That'll be next week.
Yeah.
I got those contacts if you want.
For the Patreon.
Yeah, we'll be there.
But so there's obviously a lot of traffic back and forth. And so for us, it's just kind of an added safety measure to make sure that, and then also if you are coming out downtown, especially the reason why it's obviously only in the females bathroom is because that's what we want to make sure that, everyone feels safe. We've had to use it a couple times, but we want to be a spot where people feel comfortable coming for like first dates.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been on some pretty bad first dates.
Oh yeah.
And especially if you're sitting there with somebody, I think one of the most aggravating or like one of the most scary things could be sitting there and not feeling comfortable,
Right.
And not knowing how to get out of that situation.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you have that safety blanket of like, hey, I need an angel shot, and then you're going to be escorted to your car. And part of the reason why I love Aaron to death is not only was he the best man at my wedding, he's also like 6'8", 5 and just a massive
He's bigger
human
than
being.
me?
Yeah. Oh, he is a gigantic human being. And so it's like one of those things where it's like when he towers over you and it's like, you gotta go. You're just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, no fight back. Yeah, that's really nice. I think
That
that
is.
should be a universal thing in
Definitely
all
should be.
bars.
100%.
Yeah. Poor people tip of the day. Use angel shots
Yeah.
if you need to. So we're about 30 minutes. Do you guys want to do happy hour? Since we haven't like done this yet. So this is a new segment.
I think mine would be I love customers who tip on cans or waters or tipping like more than $1 for me to open a can. I make sure I'm like, thank you so much. You did not have to do that, but that's very kind and generous.
I don't know if I've ever tipped on water, to be honest.
I don't know if I've ever tipped on water, but I've been tipped to pour
Yeah.
water when it's super busy.
I guess maybe I've gotten like $1 or $2 from water.
Yeah,
but, like,
which they don't have to
Haley,
do
so
that.
you
That's
don't
super
tip
nice.
on water, but you expect a tip on water, or you want?
I do not expect a tip on water. I did not fucking say that.
So because you get tipped on water, do you pay it forward and tip on water?
Probably. I don't go out to bars, okay? God, leave me alone. Trying to start drama.
it is pretty nice though. I mean, I guess I just
I'm a generous tipper, for the record.
for water. I'm just kidding. Oh man.
All right, let's do it. Jeez.
It's supposed to be happy hour.
Never
dude.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
making it very happy over here, Jaydn.
I didn't do anything. That was the voice from the sky that said that. No, my happy hour I think would be, since this is our first time doing this, but the last one on this trip, I think my happy hour is just like how welcoming everybody has been for us to do this podcast. And like, this is a super cliche one, but like it really has. Everybody's been so warm to us and so nice to us, and like we've
Did I
even
get
hung
this
out.
wrong?
What?
Was it supposed to be about our trip?
What do you mean?
The
No,
happy
I'm just
hour.
making this is just
Oh,
happy
okay.
hour. It's just a positive thing, I guess. I don't know, but no, I just made it about like this trip, I guess.
Yeah.
So like the poor people that we've talked to has been just super awesome and welcoming, and like I don't know, it's just cool to know that like now we can go to another city and just like, you know, just feel at home like we have here on Taps and with you guys and with everybody else we've interviewed. So
Yeah.
that's my positive thing about the service industry is everybo's been very, very nice to us and
Yes,
awesome.
they have. They really have. My happy hour would be, gosh. I always say this, like my regulars, only because like if I'm hungry, I just like say I'm hungry and they go and
Oh,
get,
yeah, we
they
talked
go,
about this,
they go
yeah.
and get me food and stuff like that, or like I don't even have to, like they just randomly bring food, like, oh here Anna, I got this for you.
Do your regulars bring you food?
Yeah, we've had that before.
Yeah.
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 Also,
Nobody does that shit for me.
Well, because you don't ask. You've never asked.
I remember when I was bartending at Barley's, which is which one of the bars that Grant pulled me over to. I had all the regulars, and there's so many people that would be like, "Why are you bartending on your birthday?" And I'm like, "Why are you not bartending
Right.
on your birthday?"
Yeah, correct.
When your
correct.
regulars find out it's your birthday,
Oh, yeah.
holy
Oh, yeah.
hell!
Oh,
that
yeah.
is one of
They-
the greatest things ever.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I will agree with you on that one.
I agree too. Yeah.
So what is that your happy hour? Is that like bartending on your birthdays?
Oh yeah, no. My happy hour honestly would be, and I think it needs to happen more with the positivity of everything. Is my happy hour would be when people have a great time and leave a positive review.
Yes.
I feel like reviews are always slated toward the negative, and I had a bad time, and this and this and this. But like when someone's like takes the time to be like, I had a great time. This is fantastic. I love this. 5 stars. Boom, boom. It needs to happen more. It's just because like we obviously live in a world where currently it's just
Everybody wants to
steaming with
complain.
negative.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
That's
so-
why we're doing
yeah.
happy hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I
we
have
complain
a
too
better
much.
one.
Okay,
Jeez.
fine.
When I feel like an asshole.
I'm happy when I'm tipping over 20% on not water.
Damn it.
I'm happy when people give me money.
No, it's really kind. They don't have to do that.
It is.
God.
That is a good
Anyways.
one. That is a happy hour for sure.
But when like making new regulars, when you talk
Yeah.
to someone
Yes.
the prior week and they come back the next week, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
but-
you so much for coming back.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one too. I was just more along the lines, do you ever ask your staff to have people say like, hey, if you guys really liked your experience, please leave us a review. We'd greatly appreciate it. Do you ever have them say that?
I mean, we have before. I don't know. Sometimes it feels disingenuous to kind of have that, like, it feels very corporate. And
Yeah.
when Grant and I left Casey Hops, we wanted to break away from more of that corporate feel. And so it's
Okay.
like, we still have that thing of like, hey, fill out a survey and all that stuff. But like, we wanted to break away from that whole, like, if you really liked your service, like,
Yeah.
it tends to be more robotic.
You're not wearing enough flair.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got 10 pieces of flair on. It's
Well, and I've like had a lot of people say like, "Oh, we love coming here. Thank you so much for serving us." I'm like, "Oh, thanks. I appreciate it." Like I go, if you guys would like to write a review about Tonic, I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much for giving me such a great compliment towards my establishment. And like 9 times out of 10, they normally do it. But like you said, so many people, that platform is for people to complain on. It's not to give a good compliment. It's only to complain. And we want to give good service, but we don't want to deter any of our newer clients and things like that, because people do look at reviews. They do look at the star reviews and things like that. So we want to be able to have good reviews, and sometimes we have bad ones, which is okay. But like, we just want to grab the attention of people that like are looking at those reviews and stars and things like that. So
How many times has a review actually stopped you from going to a place though? Like a negative review.
it's more along the food wise, not like the service wise. It's like more of like certain
If the
foods.
food's bad?
Yeah, they were talking about like, oh, I had this and it didn't really taste very good and stuff like that.
See, even if I see those, I'm like, I'm still gonna go there and get a burger.
Yeah, because because their opinion is their own and it's not
Right,
yours
right.
and things like that. Yeah, I'm the same way about.
Make me want to go to a place.
Really?
Right.
Yeah, well, let's see how
Like,
better it is.
I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, I always feel like even if there isn't already like a complaint about that place, like it's not going to define how your experience is there either, you know? So it's like, yeah, it is just an opinion, really.
yeah.
And opinions are stupid. No, I'm just kidding.
Sometimes, yeah, I go to that place and we go get drinks. We just don't eat food there, something
Right,
like that.
okay.
But I haven't really done that in a while. That was like,
That's what Ruins Pub was for me.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah.
would go there with the friends and grab a drink, but I never ate here. And
Yeah.
I was happy after we did the remodel process. I was like, I'm really glad I never ate here.
Yeah, for
Jesus.
real. All right. So with that happiness, we can get right into our dirt douche of the week.
I don't have a douche. Actually, I do. So this is for this
That was
week.
quick.
Yeah, it'd be the truck driver that almost ran Haley and I off the interstate yesterday, heading
When
to
was that?
Oh, yeah.
To
yesterday.
dinner?
No, it was to
The episode?
Yeah.
the other place. Yeah.
There was a semi truck that almost ran you guys off the road?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're getting on, and I'm like have my blinker on, and like right where the exit is, it's super short. So like and like there's another lane, so they merge together. And he just like I had my blinker on, and I was trying to speed up, but he was going faster than me, and I tried to slow down, didn't go past me. He like got next to me, and I like had to completely stop so he can get because he almost. I was getting to the point where there's no more road left.
Ugh.
Haley was probably having a panic attack that
Oh
whole
yeah,
time.
that's why I said I broke Haley when I drove the other day.
Oh, you did say that,
It's a
yeah.
little spooky in Anna's car.
I
Sorry.
wouldn't. No, I'm just kidding.
Is that why you had trouble finding a happy place today?
Yes, it was. I drive too fast.
just full of anxiety right now. Sorry, guys.
I'm a very responsible driver.
I was
think
paying
so.
attention because
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
oh my
I
God,
believe
Haley,
you.
that guy is going to hit us. And I had to slow down. I was like, oh my God, he's not going to let us over. And I had to like stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have been like smushed into the like side.
Yeah. So that is my douche of the week. The truck driver that almost ran us off the road.
Have you lived in Kansas City your whole life?
No, I was born and raised in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You're right. You did say that.
Him
So,
and Jen are both from Michigan.
Yeah.
oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I was wondering if she did like an old fashioned as well, because she
Oh.
actually used to work at a nice whiskey bar. Up
Oh,
there.
nice.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, we're both from the Murder Mitten. So
Oh, shit. I've never heard it called that before. Anyways, did you, do you think you're a crazy driver here since you've lived in KC longer than any of us here?
is my wife going to find out about this episode? No, I am not the crazy driver.
Okay.
My wife is the Leadfoot.
Okay.
We actually made a joke today because I was driving here and I had to try to get around this guy, and I was like, you can tell it's bad if I'm trying to get around this guy. I feel like I used to be a crazy driver, but I feel like having kids definitely kind of humbled me where I'm just like, I got people in the back, I got people in the back, I got people in the back, I got people in the back.
Lives are at stake. No, we've noticed that like some of the roads here are really winding and like fast, you know,
drive
so it's like,
fast.
yeah, people will just whip around those turns and stuff. But I mean, everybody drives crazy everywhere, but like, I guess we just notice it more because we're from Iowa.
Okay, I have two.
Okay, cool.
They relate to each other, but the first one is myself. When I'm super, super, super busy and I'm just like pointing at people, ask like, you turn, your turn, your turn, and I don't get a good enough look at their face because I'm like, and it's super loud in there, so I like put my ear towards them, and I hear their order and I go get it, and I turn around and I'm like, shit.
Who was
ordered
it?
that.
Oh man.
Yeah. Or when people order a drink, I turn around, make it super fast. I turn back to the bar, and then they disappeared.
Oh
They're
yeah.
not standing in the
You
spot
sw-
they were, and I
yeah.
was like, "Where'd they go?"
What do you do? Do you just like do you leave it like on the bar side of the like the mats, or do you like put it up to the bar and like just kind of wait for somebody to get
I
back?
will leave it towards me and wait till I get
Yeah.
the card.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm like, if it's their group of friends or something and I'm making a bunch of drinks for that group, I'll just kind of put them all in one big pile. But if it's like a couple or something and then they disappear, I'm like, oh, fuck, when am I supposed to put this now? Like, do I drink it? Like, is it?
I remember, especially like what you said when you had like turned your ear. I remember not realizing how hard of hearing I was until
Yeah.
COVID hit, because then it was like when everyone was wearing that mask,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just like, I can't tell what the hell they're saying because
Right.
I'm not being able to read their lips.
Right,
I didn't
yeah.
realize that was as much a part of the job as it was.
Yeah. I read lips a lot too. Yeah.
I can't read lips and I can't fucking hear, so it's a real struggle. Having to ask someone to repeat themselves like 3 times, I'm like, I am so sorry.
I get
Yeah.
annoyed with myself when I have to like ask, and I'm like,
Yeah.
huh? I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I just want to hear you. I'm getting so frustrated over here with my own self that I can't even hear anything that you're saying.
Well, it's also when they like, when you're like, what? And then they're like, still like, oh, can I get a whiskey sour? And then you're like, what? And then they're like, oh, can I get a whiskey sour? And you're like, yeah. They don't raise their voice at all.
How's that go?
That's my biggest pet peeve. is when they don't raise your voice and you're clearly like, dude, what are you saying? Like, talk louder, please. Like, and they're still like, oh, I'll just whiskey sour. I can't hear you, dude.
Open your mouth and speak.
Volume project.
Yeah, something. Okay, so my douche of the week is kind of off of another douche of the week that I had, but basically it's like when you're serving this table and they have a server that they like normally have, or a bartender that they always go to, and that's the first question they ask. They're like, "Where's And you're like, "Just me." Sorry. And then they're like, well, they would do it this way and they would do this for me. And I'm like, dude, I don't like, just tell me what you want. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not that person. Like, please just give me the order. I'm going to do it exactly the same way that they do it. It's going to just tell me what you want, And it's like, but they have that. I mean, I get it. Like, you have your regulars and you have that person and they know how to do your order. I understand that. But when it's like, when you're just like, well, oh man, it just like makes you feel bad as a server to be like, well, I'm not that person. Like, and it's like.
My favorite thing about people like that too is that it's 9 times out of 10 the most like uniform
Right.
thing ever. Like
Yeah.
it's just like, well, they make me a margarita.
Yeah.
And you're just like, but they use triple sec in it and sour mix
Yeah.
and maybe a little agave syrup, and you're just like, cool, that's our house margarita.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I used to have this couple come in and they would order like a pizza, but they wanted it undercooked to like a very specific undercooked level. and so every time they would always tell their server, and then a server would forget about it or something. So then like they would go to, and I'm like, oh, those are those guys. Like, I got you, like I'll tell you when to take out the pizza or whatever. But yeah, it's still just like annoying to have to like do that, even though like I don't know, it's just like I don't know, enjoy your service.
Honestly,
like I'm still gonna have great service with
I
you.
think we're
Like,
just pushovers.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, we're basically
toxic pushovers.
Yeah, we're just pushovers. Like, oh, you want that? Okay, yeah, I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna act like I don't like doing it, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I know you're gonna like it and it's gonna make my day go by better.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then we walk into the alleyway and we're like, son of a bitch. Can you believe this person?
The fake kicking the stuff. All right. Did you have a douche of the week?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely mine's more localized to this restaurant, but my biggest complaint, and this is coming off of Wednesday, we have our whiskey specials on Wednesday. And so we discount the entire whiskey wall, and we have 128 different types of whiskey up there, or 128 types of whiskey up there, but we have majority bourbons. And I can't tell you how many times we have the like super allocated stuff that's sitting on the wall. And they'll be like, I want, they're like, how much for a Pappy Van Winkle? And you're like, it's $100 an ounce. And they'll be like, I know how much that bottle costs.
Oh yeah.
And you're just
That's a
like,
good one.
cool, man. Supply and demand says, also, if you know how much that bottle costs, go find it and let me know where it's at. Because I
Right.
want to shop at that honey pot
Yeah.
and get that bottle because it's a specialty bottle that comes around once a year. And good luck. Like, it's a rare bourbon, and it happens all the time. And then we also have a lot of people that come in here as well, and not a lot, but we have at least like once a month where someone comes in and they're like, I know more about blank than anyone in here, and it's always whiskey or shots or this or that, and you're just like, are you effing kidding me, dude? I've been doing this since I was 20. Like I've been in the restaurant industry since I was 18. But I've been bartending since I turned 21.
Yeah.
Right.
That used to irritate the shit out of me. I worked at a whiskey bar, and I built a whiskey wall, did all this and that. I bought all of the bottles that went up on that shelf. I set it up, I organized it, everything. I could tell you the dollar amount of every single bottle on the shelf, and we turned it the way you're supposed to turn it.
Yeah.
We turned it accordingly. If we got a good deal on a bottle, we'd sell it by the dollar cost average of the bottle. We were very, very like meticulous about the wall. And people would say that same thing. They're like, well, MSRP is $175 on that bottle. I'm like, go find me that bottle, and you find me that bottle for MSRP, I'll sell you that whiskey at cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'll go there because I'll buy it. Like I'm gonna put it back behind the other bottle and like get ready to sell it.
Yeah. We're not trying to make. We're trying to break even and give people an opportunity to drink awesome whiskey.
Yeah.
Don't tell me how much it should cost.
And I don't know why this just came up in my head, but also coming from like the manager side of things, I obviously won't say his name for specific reasons, but one of the first bar managers that I put in charge here after I spent years, it was 3 or 4 years cultivating that whiskey wall, 128 different types of bourbon. The first thing the new bar manager went to tell me before, obviously he didn't last that long, but the first thing he went to tell me was, well, my first act as bar manager is I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that entire whiskey wall and put it on liquors that actually sell. And I was just like, oh, we're not going to get along.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not going to get along.
That
just comes with the whole like overstepping your bounds, thinking you know more than the people that are here. Like
that's an annoying thing too. Yeah, when like a new manager comes in and they're like, "We're going to change all this. We're going to turn this place around," and it's like I understand like people that are doing that for the better, but a lot of the time it's just like personal opinion of like, "Oh, well, I don't really like whiskey, so we're going to take down that whole wall because it's not going to sell." And it's like you're wrong, dude. You don't know what you're talking about.
Anything can sell as long as you just have a really good selling pitch.
Right.
Like any type of beer, like we can sell anything. My girls just have to like know that about that specific beer and what it pairs with, or like with that whiskey we sell cigars, so like, hey, this is what my favorite cigar is with this bourbon and or scotch and like whiskey. So like you can, anything that is back here gets sold because of the people that are the front of the house that make it get sold.
Right.
So like for that person to say that your stuff will not get sold, you have 128 selections of bourbons and whiskeys. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like
You can't sell one of those bottles? Like,
like my boss would go berserk just to have that type of wall.
Right.
Like, it's kudos to you for like not having that specific person anymore, but like that's the whole point of us. We're supposed to like make sales for the restaurant. We're supposed to make those connections with people and know what their palate is like and get them their specific drink that they want.
and we're supposed to sell the bottles that are running out of, or that we aren't going to sell anymore, you know, like
the mark of any good bar is selling out of stuff.
Right.
You know? Like
Exactly.
selling out of food, selling out of liquor, selling out of beer. Like when people are like, oh, there's that many beers out. It's like, yeah, we had a great weekend. You know?
Yeah. What else we got? What else we got over here?
What are your mystery cans? I saw that on the menu.
That is definitely a favor to distributors. That is one of those, hey, what are you selling?
Yeah.
What do you need? And it's like sometimes, obviously, it rotates different things. Like right now, our mystery cans are skimmers, iced tea, seltzers, Rolling Rock.
I love Rolling Rock.
PBR, and next week will be PBR Light.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Hams, stuff like that. But it literally is the way for whenever our distributors need a favor and need help kind of like moving through some products, because we all have placements and they're trying to do their job. They're trying to sell different things. Whenever they're like, hey, man, I really need you to buy a case of white grape, I don't know, whatever. And you're just like, all right, send it.
Yeah.
And I'll put it in the mystery and we'll just blow through it.
But
So then
people-
it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go
Do
ahead.
they ask what the mystery can is, or they're just like, can I get the mystery can? You bring it to whatever you grab.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll kind of let them know, but then also in the same fact, there's a lot of times where people we're like, it's a mystery, and just like drop it off. But
That's fun.
you at least
You know.
kind of narrow it down sometimes where you're like, do you want beer or do you want a seltzer?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you don't want someone that's like, I want a mystery can, then all of a sudden they're like, I wanted a beer, and then you drop off.
Yeah.
A seltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Well, that's a cool way to also support people that you were in the business with as well, because you were a draft tech and you were also a liquor distributor.
Yep.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yeah. So like just being able to like give back to that type of work and help those other people, that's really nice of you to do.
And at the end of the day, this industry is all built off relationships. You know,
Yes.
it's relationships between bar regulars and servers and bartenders, and it's relationships between management and distributors. It's relationships between management and employees, and it's just like, you know, in relationship from kitchen to serving. You know, it's just it's all about positively affecting those relationships and making sure that everyone can work together instead of against each other.
Yeah. So like you said, you handpicked your staff, right? Okay. So like, how hard is it to have that boundary set with people that like you're really close with, and then like that you're also still friends with? Because I work with people that I've known for a very long time, and sometimes like some of us like to cross that boundary, and then we go, "Oh, sorry, you're like
Oops.
you're still my boss. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to come off that way." So like, how do you keep that? in line?
It's another difficult thing in the industry, but it's kind of setting up boundaries up front. You know, like I said, the bar manager was the best man at my wedding. It's one of those things where when he was interviewed, I didn't interview him. Grant interviewed him. I recommended him for the job, and Grant was just like, "Well, what would you do if blah blah blah?" And you know, like Ty da 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 and da 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 da. And he was just like, "I'll be honest. Ty's relationship is not going to. Ty's relationship comes in front of the bar." And I loved his answer for it. But he's like, "Ty's relationship comes in front of the bar, and I'm not going to do anything to like." I'm not going to do anything to come against that, but also in the same fact, if I see our relationship getting strained because of that, I will then choose to leave. So it's having people that have that like wherewithal for that. But then also, I mean, it's worked out negatively in the past. I mean, when I say I handpicked everyone, I mean that I handpicked the last bar manager and it didn't work out. You know, and I handpicked our events coordinator, it didn't work out. And it was just it's a lot of. It's not personal, it's business. And I'm still Ty. I'm always going to be Ty. But there is a difference between Ty in this building and Ty outside this building. And the easiest way to get things done here is we all work together. So that's working with me, working with Ty. I will work with you as a person. I will work with you as a person. I will work with our head chef. I will work with our owner. I will work with all those people. But then outside this building, knowing that that's a completely different person. And like, because this building is not about me, this building is not about Grant, this building is not about, you know, anybody that works here. And if you want to put some sort of stipulation on it, this building is about Maisie, Archie, Cora, and Milo, which is our kids. And once again, creating something for them that like we can have this job where we feel comfortable working, we can all work together, and then hopefully maybe eventually having that opportunity at the end to be like, hey, do you guys want this, and turn it over to them. If they don't, then we'll figure it out. But for the most part, it's creating a place that operates completely outside of your own ego.
Is this the only one of these?
Yes.
Is there other bars that have the pour yourself like feature?
I think there's like 12 throughout the continental U.S. I don't know.
Oh, no
exactly.
shit. Wow.
I know that there's some in Colorado. I know there's a couple in Cleveland. There is one in Wichita, but other than that, I don't really know. We had a tech that would come around, and at first he was the one that like installed all the tech stuff for Pour My Beer, and I kind of just watched him do it, and then I had to trial by error and like learn how to do it all myself, which was a fun summer. And I blew out a lot of screens because I plugged in things to the wrong holes. But he was a magnificent help with kind of doing all that stuff. But yeah, there's about 12 or 13 throughout the continental U.S.
So is there any other in Kansas City then?
There is one, but it's behind the bar at a casino. I want to say it's Hop House. And then there is a completely different system. It's an Italian version of our system, but it's a wine bar, and it's called Sail Away. And so instead of like just being able to measure whatever ounces you have the choice of a half ounce, 1 ounce, or 4 ounces. And so you just basically plug your card in and then just hit the button, and it just dispenses it for you. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that it was like that rare to like come. So like we're in like a really rare restaurant right now, like one of 12, and then for real, it's super cool too. I mean, just like even when I looked back there, it just looked insane. It hurt my brain to look at, honestly. So
the big grasp for them is cruise ships. So they're in a lot of cruise ships. So whenever you have like the pour, like you'll have a station that you'll put your cup in and you'll hit the button. That has the same system we have, but it is like kind of more of a kiosk thing, and that's so that they don't have to have a bartender actually serving you. But you know, that's kind of what cruise ships and event spaces and all that stuff have, kind of that aspect where you just hit a button and walk away, and you don't have to worry about it being, you're not leaving a faucet open.
Cool.
Yeah.
They have a wine one
pretty cool.
in Iowa City at Chop House.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
I've been to it.
Oh.
I drank the wall.
Get a drink of our wall.
They had a lot less wine after I walked out of there. And speaking of, last call.
Yeah, do we have anything else?
No.
I don't think
Yeah.
so. Anything else you wanted to cover about taps?
No,
Wanna talk
you
about
guys
it?
are all from Des Moines?
Yeah.
I'm from Texas.
Yeah, he doesn't shut up about it.
I honestly, it's more kind of a story time sort of situation. But my bar manager, Aaron, him and I, we went for his 30th birthday to Des Moines, and it was one of the best times of my whole entire
Cool.
life. I can't remember a lot of the places we went to. We went to the
You hear
bar.
that, Mike?
Yeah. It was one of the best times. We had it was like
Were you in a K-hole?
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know how many bars, but there was like the bar where it's like you walk up all like floors. And there's a different bar each floor, and all the way
Yeah.
down.
Oh,
And I don't know if that's still there.
It's not.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I remember it was one of the best times of my life. And I remember the ride home with me and my wife, and my buddy I was so happy he ended up riding with his friends, because on the way back, like there was like 3 times where I made my wife pull over because I had to just
oh
spew.
no.
Like it was just like
No.
it was like now. Like, it was just
I know. That's why you get to enjoy yourself now.
Yeah.
During Court Center, because they're actually getting it remodeled. So
cool.
there's a really nice martini bar that's down at the bottom. We've actually interviewed there before.
Oh, cool.
But like upstairs, they're figuring out where they want to go with it and what they want to put in it.
Yeah.
So
Our downfall for that one was the bar that was like the stock exchange, and I think it was
Oh,
called
yeah, the exchange, yeah.
And literally, it was like I was just sitting there watching the screen. I'd see something like tick up, and I'd be like $4 for grape Ciroc. And I'd be like,
yeah.
I'll take 12. Like,
right.
yeah. And then there was the Iowa Beer Hall that had like 300 on tap.
Oh, the tap house, or what is
Iowa
it?
Tap Room.
Iowa tap room, yeah.
It was such a cool spot, and
Yeah.
honestly,
That's not automatic though.
yeah. But yeah, I also remember like when we were there, it was like, of course, obviously, then we ended up, my wife and I ended up having kids, so we don't go out anymore. But it's always been a thing where it's like, oh, we need to make a day trip to Des Moines. Oh, we need to make a day trip to Des Moines. But yeah, it
You
was
can
fun
actually
time.
come down during the farmers market. Please come down for the farmers market
Yeah.
on Saturdays. That's actually what's going on.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
that's kid friendly too. And there you have like the science center down there and everything like
Oh, hell
that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
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 That's super cool down there. Yeah. Well, cool. All right. Well, we're going to get into our Patreon. So thank you, Taps on Main. Thank you, Ty, for being here. This has been awesome. Thanks for letting us take up your space and your speakeasy and time. And
Anytime, guys.
Yeah.
It was a blast, man. Thank you guys for having us. Thank you for considering us.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, of course. Do you have any socials that you would like to plug?
Just tapsonmain.com. Obviously, we have Taps on Main for everything, Insta, Facebook, all that stuff. But yeah, tapsonmain.com, and then yeah.
Awesome. And make sure you follow Poor People Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and Instagram and TikTok, and anywhere you can get your podcasts. And
Shout out to
yeah.
Susie for hooking us up with it.
Yeah, shout out Zuzi
Yeah,
for
thank you,
sure.
Susie.
Definitely. Bada bing. All right. We're going to get into our
All right.
Patreon.
Well, for
Sure for poor. Thanks for watching Poor People. That was awesome. Yeah, we do it at the end.